in the colophon, this is what Trungpa Rinpoche wrote. Sapsang doji tolu jasol ngedun silpa chungul langne jang inji ke tu jurper shubandi lungom marik ni le sebatang tanye togi yule jarjurchik. I have translated, edited, and published this in the English language. May the stupid meditators be awakened from the sleep of ignorance. May the attacks of the logicians with their sophistries be vanquished. The nuances, the flavor of these sentences is very much found throughout the Kaju Gurtso, the collection of songs. And from these two remarks Trungpa Rinpoche made alone, we can learn a lot, not just learn, but use as a guiding light. So many of us, we get caught up by wanting to become a good meditator. And here, clearly, not only Kaju forefathers, but Trungpa Rinpoche himself indicates, to me anyway, that to become a good meditator is really not the aim, anyway, not the ultimate aim. And this now more than ever is relevant. Meditation has now become a fashion. Mindfulness, meditation, yoga, all of this, like a vegan food, is it? All this bundling up together. As in stated by great Longchenpa of the Nyingma tradition, when a master points out, when somebody points out to the moon, idiot looks at the finger instead of the moon. In the similar tradition here, we get so carried away by wanting to become a good meditator. Lama Xiang, another great master, made a very important remark. He said, nowadays, when the lamas advise the students, you should not be distracted. Immediately, students interpret this as, oh, my master means abide. And he said, that kind of interpretation, that I must abide, indicates the sign of degeneration of meditation. Lama Xiang Rinpoche. It's in here somewhere. I can't. There's too many. I would try to make some, extract, but there's so many. And same thing here. May the stupid meditators be awakened from the sleep of ignorance. Obviously, Rinpoche is not only talking about just sleep, the usual sleep, which is something that happens naturally to me here in this part of the world. But lungom marigni lesebatang. The ignorance or the sleep of, that craving for the taste of meditation, abiding, that kind of sleep. Just within this word, shamatha and vipassana is summed up very, sort of incredibly together. Now, of course, please, for those who are just beginning the path of meditation, bear in mind, we are extracting from the ocean of incredibly profound and the highest tantric teachings in the form of songs by the great masters. So many of these are lion's roar. And lion's roar is so loud that many of us, even as the lion roar begins, we will already become deaf. So we will not, some of us may not be able to chew it. As the Heruka, in the Heruka Kalpo. What is Heruka Kalpo translated as? Heruka Kalpo. Any translator here? Heruka Kalpo. Tantra. It's a root, one of the root texts, the tantric root text. It's there Buddha said, Julam epa juchochi. Buddha taught the causal path that talks about, you should do the right thing, be good boy and girl, refrain from doing the wrong thing, stay out of trouble, then you will, all this causal teachings. Causal teachings are taught for those who, Buddha so beautifully put it together. He calls it for those who loves cause, which is many of us. We love cause. We like doing things. We like steps. We like progresses. We like, checklist. Cause, the gradual sort of steps. And nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong, actually. If you are a cause lover, then there is the causal path. So for them, Buddha has very skillfully made us believe that our goal is somewhere out there. You know, like Shantideva said, Dungal nyevar shidundu, drevi mongpa domija. In order for you to not suffer, in order for you so that you will not get into more and more suffering, he said, you can have one ignorance for the time being. Of course, generally ignorance is not good. But for the time being, since we know that you are suffering, and since you really want to get out of suffering, you can have one suffering. One ignorance, and that is the ignorance of thinking that there is an enlightenment. And this, Shantideva said. So for those who are cause lover, it's understandable to fall for fingers. Don't think naughty things now. Is Dojil open here and Donna home? No? Oh. It's all right to get attracted to fingers and use your fingers. Because after all, it's pointing towards the moon. So, but here, we are talking about really the most profound path, otherwise known as Mahamudra. Out of the lack of labeling, we call it Mahamudra. It has no name. Just like the great Taoist text says, name that can be given is not a name. But that's what the Taoist, I think, Tao Te Ching seems to begin. Name that can be given is not a name. But Buddha is a compassionate. For the cause lovers, all kinds of names are given, all kinds. So all the causal teaching is basically a game. It is a show. We are translating the Kanjur, the Buddhist canon. And it is amazing that when I'm reading some of the texts, and we recently almost finished translating Lalita Vistara Sutra, which is the 12 deeds of the Buddha, basically, mainly the life of the Buddha. And it's in Tibetan, it's called Jachir Rolbindo, Lalita Vistara Sutra. And that name, Jachir Rolpa or Lalita Vistara, is an incredible name. It's a biography of the Buddha. Jachir Rolpa, loosely, it means the big game, the big show. The whole coming as the Prince Siddhartha, the son of the Shuddhodana, the Kapila Vastu, the 6 years of penance, all of this is a show. For those who love cause, it was necessary. But don't think that anyone can just go, to the, anyone can just walk onto the stage and just perform. I guess you can, but if you don't have a merit, incredible merit, your show will be a failure. It will just be a disappointment to yourself and many others, if there is any audience. Of course, there will always be one or two sycophants who will follow you, but needs merit. I'm sorry, but my thread is not good these days. I'm going everywhere. And I was just talking yesterday, like Chögyam Trungpa Rinpoche, what he did, if someone like I do it, people will think I've gone crazy. Like small kids, they have baby doll. It's, they act as this is a real baby. And I remember when I grew up, I did so many black magic puja. Those are my favorite, what again, like what do you call it, effigies and stabbing on effigies and stuff like that. That used to be, but I know there are friends who also who likes pretending they're cooking. A small pot, no rice or anything, like no fire, but they pretend. You must know this. If I do what Chögyam Trungpa Rinpoche did, I'm a king, queen, navy. What is it? Like, what? Kasung, kusung, camp, raiding, all of this won't work. You try. It won't work. It was a big show. It was a big show. But the great bodhisattvas, the great masters, just like the Buddha, it was a necessary show, the 12 deeds. But because it is rooted, the finger is pointed to the right direction, the moon. All this navy, whatever, all of this. Incredibly, it has brought so many people, so many of you. At least you're acquainted with the thoughts of great masters like Telopa. At the least. And that's incredible. I don't even have a guts to do those things because I'm so afraid of being laughed at. It takes a lot of courage and compassion and all of that. Anyway, going back to Lama Shangha Rinpoche, he said, these days when the lamas say, do not get distracted, students already think, always think, almost always the students interpret this as, okay, abide. That desire to abide is so strong. And this desire to abide and being able to abide tentatively, of course, being able to abide is what he's talking about. Stupid meditators, be awakened from the sleep of ignorance. And the other one is the attacks of the logicians. Logicians, analysis, and doubt be vanquished. And this is what I wanted to talk a little bit. Shariputra was told by Buddha, Sharipu, if you want to understand the ultimate truth, eventually there is only one way, and that is through the trust. Devotion is very contaminated word, and all of these words now, we really have to define properly. Trust, devotion. Anyway, for now, let's use trust or devotion. That's what Buddha himself said. Even the Buddha, who also spoke, who also said, like a gold, analyze it, cast it, refine it, and then accept it as gold, not at face value. You must analyze the teaching and the teacher and really, use your critical mind. The same Buddha at the end said, only through devotion one will understand the ultimate truth. This is found in the sutra, not just in the Tantra or the Vajrayana, which most of the songs are about, actually all. Rinpoche's colophon, here in the colophon, he's saying that one of the purpose of translating this text may it vanquish this analytical mind, basically. Path of devotion is paramount in the Vajrayana. As we have just read in the prayers, supplication to the lineage gurus. Devotion is like a head, utmost important. You will, when you read the songs, something to notice. Almost every shloka, here and there, you will find mentioning of the Guru, mentioning of the Guru's name, Guru's kindness, Guru's presence, Guru's power, compassion, so on and so forth. This is waning, by the way. Everybody is busy talking about self-revelation. Is it self-revelation? Like they don't. We now. Forget you guys. Even within the Tibetan circle, especially with the young generation lamas, they don't mention their guru as much. which is very unfortunate, so sad. And especially now the term guru is even becoming very dirty. But, there are some understandable and sort of understandable reason, and there is, of course. But we have to bear in mind charlatans, fake gurus, abusive gurus have existed long before, even during the Buddha's time. Nevertheless, especially in the Vajrayana, guru is indispensable. As you can read, songs always begins with a remembering of the guru, calling the guru, tributing to the guru, supplicating to the guru. This is one culture or one habit or one sort of path that is waning, that is dying. Yes, very unfortunate, but at times understandable. Trungpa Rinpoche, his own songs, which I've requested to be read this time, maybe towards the end of today, mentions relentlessly kindness of his guru. There's even a famous sort of metaphorical story when Telopa finally point out to the Chakrasambhara Mandala, to Naropa, and ask, okay, who do you prostrate to, me or a Chakrasambhara? Naropa's first thought was, well, I can always see Telopa, my guru, but it's rare to see the Chakrasambhara, so I prostrate to the Chakrasambhara. And supposedly, this has created a little bit of inauspiciousness. Of course, we need to know that that alone is a teaching. That alone is telling us something. But of course, yes, just like Naropa, especially now, in this age, time and age, devotion is difficult, really difficult. Doubt is one of the emotion. In the Mahayana, when we talk about 5 different kinds of emotion, in some sutras, usually, in the Vajrayana, the 5 emotions are passion, aggression, ignorance, pride, and jealousy. But in the sutras, it's passion, aggression, ignorance, doubt, and pride. Doubt is very strong emotion. And our doubt is, the sad thing about the doubt is, it's always one-sided. Many times, we don't doubt enough the reason of doubt. We don't doubt enough to the reason of doubt. So our doubt is always manifestation of emotion that is within the box that I was talking yesterday. And doubt, where there is a doubt, the dawn of wisdom and blessing is very rare. This is why we are stubbornly cause lover. And this is why the causal teachings are important. I have been with the Buddha Dharma for long. But there's something that you have, I feel, that you guys have, that I never had, which is many of you have search for the Dharma. That's really admirable, really admirable. You have actually sought and searched. It's incredible. I don't know whether I would do that. I got stumbled into the Buddhist world. Everywhere, the moment I open my eyes, there's a Buddhist stuff. Yes, later on I was trained to be critical, trained to doubt for years. But it's different. I was in Ukraine just before I came, and I went to church, all these churches. And when I saw the saints painted on the walls, beautiful paintings, to me, they're alien. They look all this big beard and, very gloomy looking and kind of very gloomy setting. I don't know whether I will be inspired. I will be, wow. Or even curious. I have read few, like Gnostic Gospels, and I have read a little bit of Quran and Hadith. But all out of just not really with a seeking mind. You have. That's something you have that I'm jealous with. And you have reached to this. It must be amazing. It must be just this alone proves the karma and karmic consequences and merit exist. Fact that many of you have chosen a particular path and walk into the shrines that has things like Chakrasambhara, Vajrayogini. They are not the most, serene looking sight. But yet, you bought it and you really settled for it. This is This proves that compassion of the Buddha is limitless and is not going to stop. Even then, even though I have been sort of growing up in a Buddhist family, devotion is it's a very big challenge. As I said right at the beginning yesterday, mostly, if I do seem to have a devotion, it is very much to do with jihadi mentality, sort of patriotic mentality. Not really so much to do with really understanding the value of the path. I have to say, occasionally there is. Occasionally I surprise myself. Wow, I do seem to have some sort of a devotion. For instance, like all the, drama of 2 Karmapa incarnations, I have to say, genuinely and honestly, it actually aroused and increased my devotion to the whole Karmapa universe. It's incredible if you look at it from the bird's eye view. If you decide to look into a particular aspect, yes, then it's like, what is this? The corruption, the political struggle, and all of that. But if you look from a bird's eye view, to me, it has only increased my devotion towards the manifestation, skillful means, and the unobstructed compassion of Karmapa. This is not going to shake the Karmakaju lineage, I'm telling you. It's still intact, and still alive, and it's still kicking, and its blessing is gushing out. Obstacles? Yes. Even the last day in the Mangadat, under the Bodhi tree, Buddha had to fight with the obstacles. Where there is Dharma, there is always going to be obstacles. Obstacles is their job. And actually, they are also within the package of so-called path. If there is no obstacle, what's the path for? Obstacles are going to be there. You have to have a bird's eye view, I think. We have to. Because we are talking about Buddha Dharma. We are talking about great vehicle. We are talking about benefiting the whole sentient beings. We are not talking, and when we say benefiting the whole sentient beings, we are not talking about meager, giving them shelter and food and medicine. We are talking about enlightening them. So it's a big project. It's a big vision. And I know Some of you will be puzzled, but I'm going to say this anyway. You know, I was talking yesterday when I was in Oxford. I was having a heated argument with this British man. And one of the touchy subjects was about Vajra regent. And I told him, and this actually I meant it. I said, to me, this is the most heroic manifestation of Trungpa Rinpoche. Amazing. He was saying, well, the British guy was saying, if he's that omniscient and all of that, why did he even point him all of this? He was good, the British guy, very good. But he got so heated. He ordered, I have a reason why he got so involved, because he ordered 2 cappuccinos, which he never drank. Which he never drank. One got cold and taken away, and another came, and we were talking and talking. It is such an heroic act. I was talking about bringing the Buddha Dharma to here. And the Tibetans, they are racist. Really, it's known. Just like how it used to be, like 1,000 years ago, when Berochana, Kawapalsek, Chorolui, when they, like when Naropa, when Marpa, when they went to India, Indians were racist. They would not give their treasured teachings, very precious teachings to Tibetans. But these Tibetans, they smell, and they're not cultured, they're not sophisticated, they're basically tribal. Still they are. Tibetans are so tribal, I'm telling you. Their mind works like, oh, I'm from this side of the river, you are from that side of the river. So therefore, we should not really talk, like that. When some of us decided to translate the word of the Buddha, Kanjur, to English, in the Tibetan website, I have probably about 500 negative comments. Who are you? Why are you selling our precious Dharma to, West? Stuff like this. I'm serious. I'm not making up. Okay. Trungpa Rinpoche came here trying to really make you guys believe that you can be a pimp, you can be squeezing oil from sesame seed, yet you can actually get enlightenment. And I will appoint some of you as my regent, whom I trust. I don't know, not just regent, Sangyums and Dapen and whatever, all these titles. This is a big heroic act. And I was telling the British guy, I'm not going to mention his name, because this is being listened throughout, isn't it? If you are listening, if you Because we have to talk about the big picture. This is what I always say to my Tibetan friends. When American forefathers planned New York City, and when they decided to have the Central Park, I'm sure there was a lot of raising of eyebrow. Those days not many cars, right? And yet, big chunk of land for forest. What is this? But now, it's really good. That's how we have to think. In this context, seemingly failure is also success. If you think this big. These are the sort of things that if we think this way, devotion is possible. And anyway, I was, sorry, again, I'm getting carried away. Devotion, I have been Buddhist for all this life, yet I suffer with having a genuine devotion. But occasionally I surprise myself. And I'm just summarizing what I've been saying. And that I'm actually very encouraged by you guys because this is a totally alien culture. Chakrasambhara, Vajra Yogini, half drunk, half this, all these things are completely alien. But you stick with this. And you are not that stupid. You have done, you come from a nation or a continent that has gone to moon, and you have produced boats that does not sink, and those are quite a visible achievement. So you must have, you have gone through, you have tested a lot of things like marijuana, and many of you have sort of settled for this kind of thing, which is very impressive. And this is the sort of the merit that you have, and you should not lose it, and you should now make more of this. Okay, going back to this. I will go back to the Telopas song, but before that, Milarepas, just extraction. Payuli shembi, karjingna, mita jumi tamcheyu, ane singmi nyekorna, juma shikbi damhayu, mime lungbi trakbungna, konde jebi tsongduyu, ningri luji gambana, la deshi dubi chokangyu. And this is my own, very loosely summarizing. In my home, this is Milarepa singing, in my home, in my hometown, in my house, in my dwelling, there is the holy dharma of impermanence. This is, like the truth of impermanence. If you need to really know, you don't have to get it from anywhere. You don't have to hear it from anywhere. If you look at your own household, it's there. You just need to realize it. Ane singmi nyekona jumashik bidamgayo. This is fantastic. That within my relatives, like aunties and sisters, he's referring to his auntie, and their famous story with his auntie and then his beloved sister. Anyway, and they don't get along. And anyway, Milarepa's song is, if you look at your relatives, how they bicker each other and how they sort of backbite each other, sibling rivalry and all of that, Jumashik Bidama, there you will find the pit instructions of how to deconstruct this illusory union, sort of illusory, sort of relative, family. You understand that sort of the institution, that sort of family. If you listen to this is next time when you hear your relatives, your parents, your brothers, sisters, when they bicker each other, this is to remember. There's a pit instructions on how to deconstruct that illusory body, that illusory family, that institution. Mime lungbi tapung na konde jebi chongduyo. In the isolated, remote cave, inside the isolated, very remote cave, Milarepa says he found a bazaar market where you can exchange samsara and the nirvana. Ningru luji gumbana la deshi dubi chokangyo. Where there is diligence, diligence in sacred outlook, sacred outlook, there, he said, you will find the temple of deity. He's referring to our body. If you are diligent in sacred outlook, you will find the temple that contains all the Tathagatas within your body. Milarepa, as you all know, is, at glance, Milarepa is known for the great renouncement. Nettle soup, cave, most of the time nothing to wear. At times when he does have something to wear, it's usually kind of in an awkward way, like socks like outfit for his penis and stuff like this. Milarepa is very much known for this kind of thing. But your understanding of renunciation of Milarepa should not be limited to this thinking that his way of looking at the world is so disgusting, so evil, so, yes, futile. It actually is not rooted to that. Milarepa's real renunciation is rooted to understanding that there is an oil in the seed. Even though the sesame seed. Even though the sesame seed does not remotely look like oil, but the trust, devotion, and the confidence that the sesame seed has oil, this trust has made him bypass all these cause-loving activities. And so here we will go back to the Telupas song. It's just so enjoyable to read this, really. It's just, it's like a tarot card. You can really, you can refer here, there. And again, and here, the Telopam, giving tribute to the Guru. The ignorance, not knowing that where there is a sesame seed, there is actually oil. Where there is a sentient being, there is an innate Buddhahood. All complete. Nothing to sort of alter, nothing to delete, nothing to sort of mend, completely intact. Lanji pun yung mi chide draw kun yin na juja lame matsun tokbar menu de timar chin du shukpa salwa min. But this extraction is only possible through the blessing of the Guru. Just as extraction of the oil from the sesame seed is possible through applying the method of extraction. And when you do that, what happens? Towards the end of his songs, Cheho ringdu toa tingpa kawitin tata nidu sabang mosarche. Ringdu toa tingpa kawitin tata nidu sabang mosarche. This. There's that notion, enlightenment, far away. After many, 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 many years and many, many prostrations and many, many, like Ngondro and many, 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 many of this, finally we reach enlightenment. You understand? That kind of notion that we have, the cause lovers. And the Telopa's end of the song is ring du do ting bakam vite tata ni du savang wasache. And he's saying how amazing through the blessing of the Guru that the aim, the result that ordinarily we think is far away is actually not far away. That it can be experienced and seen and realized here and now. And this is an amazing. This, even an intellectual understanding of this could trigger the courage and devotion. And you will realize, at the least you will appreciate that what Milarepa did was not just a myth and legend, that it is doable. In fact, Milarepa's struggle and Milarepa's dedication is much more understandable than people who are trying to get on the top of the Mount Everest. Mount Everest, climbing Mount Everest, the most stupid thing to do. What is it for? how many people is benefiting? And it's really long away, physically long away. Base camp, all the way up there. So, what I want you to know is that as much as we should be inspired by the Milarepa's manifestation of going through all that hardship, you must also learn not to be discouraged that the realization, by thinking that the realization or the goal is far, far away. And here, just to clarify, I will bring Longchenpa. And Longchenpa said, and this is one example that I like so much that I share this again and again. If you can, while you are sleeping, if you are having a nightmare, dreaming, let's say, even before you sleep, whatever that nightmare never existed. Of course not, before you sleep. And while you are dreaming, it does not exist. After you wake up, also it does not exist. But when the cause, conditions are all there, so-called nightmare happens. And you could have nightmare for 3 countless eons. Within 1 minute, you can feel that way. When you wake up, you have never even moved 1 inch from that bed. All along, you have been sleeping in that comfortable bed. You have never been experiencing what you thought you have experienced. This is actually, I've read one of the Trungpa Rinpoche's song. It's about Alaya and all of that, but there's too much at the moment, so I think this is, I think we will go through some of the songs again. Okay. Another Milarepa song. Nari puju tarbilam tang richedu nebar sinjilu du injiktenji chawe miyengba gomnyam yagi samten pewarsho. Shineji zingla majen par latongi meto tungparsho. There's one thing, the Kaju forefathers, they are quite proud of being Changpo. Changpo, beggar, is it? Beggar? Kind of not wealthy. Changpo. Can be taken as very literally, especially in the Milarepa's case, but metaphorically. Anyway, in this song, which I just randomly chose. Shineji Zingla Majenpar, Langtongi Meto Tungpar Show. After again remembering the blessing of the Guru, supplicating to the Guru, so that Milarepa himself will remain in this isolated, abandoned place, mountain, forest, without being carried away by all the worldly dharmas. He then, this is kind of a song, aspirational song. Shineji Zingla Majembar. May I never feel comfortable with the calm, abiding effect of the shamatha. And instead, may the bright, vivid, brilliant flower of vipassana grow. These are pith instructions. First of all, we do not contemplate enough. Contemplation, mindfulness is what is lacking in this world. First of all, we are deprived from this activity of contemplation. And then, even if we do contemplate, tendency to fall for the taste of calm abiding is just so strong. Temptation to remain in that. We need to stir and shake this experience of calm abiding through with a sort of whirlwind of sharp, piercing, non-forgiving, unassuming, blatant power of vipassana. Of course, vipassana this is a big one. Chances of attraction to vipassana is difficult. Chances of us being attracted to vipassana is rare. This is because we don't want to be depressed. Initially, vipassana can have side effects like depression. Because vipassana if it is done properly, it always has this going through the closet where the skeletons are hidden. That's how this vipassana is. It digs out. It kind of searches, and so chances of liking vipassana, intellectually maybe, but really being able to maintain the vipassana, continue the vipassana is difficult. And partly also for us, there's no enough shamatha. As much as we should not be attached to the taste of this calm abiding is also necessary. Here, Milarepa is talking very high. This is, of course, extending what I was talking earlier about Lama Shang Rinpoche's comment. In a way, shamatha and vipassana are like designed to erode, chorus, is it? Like cancel, like I think maybe cancel is a bit too strong, but I think the mild word I can use at the moment is the whole point of the path is to unite shamatha and vipassana. So this, I have found a song going, like on one side, encouraging us to not to get distracted. At the same time, Milarepa warning us constantly in the process of not getting distracted, not to fall into this wish to remain in the state of no distraction. And this is again connect it to, I was thinking to connect to another song. Again, I can only just summarize. There's so many, and the Milarepa song sang to ghosts. Okay, maybe we take a break for now. A lot of the song tells us how we should not fall into the traps of 8 worldly dharmas. And this was demonstrated throughout, not just Milarepa, his own life, but all the lineage holders. The quintessence of these quintessential sort of message from these songs that advises us why we should not be attached to the 8 worldly dharmas and generally all the samsaric endeavor. You can see clearly that this samsaric endeavor, the samsaric aim, is fundamentally not fixable. This is something we get from the songs again and again and again. That the samsaric endeavor, the samsaric activities only deceive ourselves and makes us feel that there is an end, but it never has an end. And in many songs, you can feel that not the frustrating and painful part of the samsara is not only because it's futile, but probably much worse than its futility is that it's endless. There's never a point where you arrive and say, okay, I have done my deed. And this is actually quite a big expression. When Shakyamuni Buddha finally vanquished the Mara under the Bodhi tree, there are few declarations he made, and one of them is Java Cheso Kur Boro. Java Cheso means I have done my deed. Kur Boro means I have shrugged off my luggage or a kur, sort of baggage. I have shrugged off. I have offload myself from the baggage. I don't have to mention this. We find in all the songs here and there. So if the samsaric endeavor is futile and endless and therefore not something that we should really put our whole concentration, energy and time, then what is it that we should be aiming? And this is the songs of Milarepa, and I'm trying to tie it kind of together, all of it, because they're all connected, of course. Is in the words of the forefather, Gaji forefather, what we have to do is, what we should do and what we should really aim for is to the images, these images, senses, and its images like you are fighting, you are in the war. And what you need to do is you need to go into a fort or a castle where you don't always have to look right and left and especially behind, because people, enemies will attack you from the behind, where you will be safe and sound and secure. And what is that? This you find mentioned in many, many songs, like the songs that is sang to ghost, but also in the colophon. Back to the colophon. Tonsal ji chaja chembelong, risal lamji chaja cherdone, desal debi chaja chemburu, kamsum chendro pinjan rojurjik. In the space of ground Mahamud of luminous emptiness, traveling on the path Mahamud of luminous insight, in the fruition Mahamud of luminous bliss, may all the beings of the three realms be liberated. Now I can only blabber few academical and intellectual stuff. The real Mahamudra, experience of the Mahamudra, has to come through the two indispensable cause or the condition, which is devotion from you, us, and the blessing of the Guru. And the blessing of the Guru does not necessarily have to come, through internet or, you understand, through, some sort of a physical situation. It can come anytime, any form. I told you last night that the whole Kaju business, Tagpo Kaju business, even a shoe played a very important role. It can come. I'm jumping here and there. As in when Milarepa was, and this is a very famous song, I'm sure many of you have read, as in Milarepa when he was picking up kindling wood, dry wood, and suddenly the wind comes, and he was trying to grab hold of the wood, then the wind blows away his robe, and then suddenly he think, well, after all this time, I'm still attached to the wood and the robe, and then somehow that triggered him looking towards the Lotolung, the southern part of Tibet, and there he saw this orangey sort of cloud, and he sang this famous song, Patambidung Samarpaje and Tang Ritu Samarchinjilop. How he wishes and longs to be there with the Marpa, how he longs to be celebrating the mandala of Jagrasambara, Vajra Yogini, so on and so forth. So even from this event, we can gather that where there is a devotion, where there is that sacred outlook, anything can trigger you and lead you to the experience of the Mahamudra. In the case, like Milarepa's, that small event, the wind has triggered, the firewood, the clothes, and then the orange cloud, suddenly remembering the Guru, and then leading towards incredible, teachings of the Mahamudra. So it can come in many different forms. If you have the guts and the wit to receive it, the sign and poking of the Mahamudra experience can come in many different ways. But of course, Guru, as Sakya Pandita said, Guru is indispensable. And there's many reasons, not just fundamentally Guru in the Vajrayana is not to be limited to a master who teaches you. But Guru is the path. Guru is the universe. And actually, ultimately, Guru and the practitioner are inseparable. This is the whole point of the Guru Yoga. But academically, intellectually, if we talk about these stanzas. Longsal ji chaja chimpilong. The Mahamudra. The hallmark, the seal, the real characteristic of everything. Cha, ja. Tibetan word ja is something to do with the sealing, the hallmark.